Good afternoon, everybody, and once again, welcome back to the channel. In this particular video, we'll be doing something really, very interesting and close to a real world example, which is incremental file processing with pessimistic log control. Now, let me explain you the problem statement and then I'll show you a diagram and a solution and you'll love it. So the problem is, let's say you're processing file incrementally, right? In a Python job, it could be a Spark job, Glue job, running on EMR, doesn't really matter, right? You're running a job. Now, while that job is, reading files from S3 objects, right, and then it's processing, and let's say your job is scheduled at a 15-minute interval, right? So the first job could take more than 15 or 20 minutes, right? And the second job will automatically fire. So now the problem is, how do you ensure that the second job, if it fires, either does not executes the logic or checks in a way that the first job is still running and it will wait for that. So that's called pessimistic log control, and we're going to be doing exactly that. With incremental file processing, we're going to be adding pessimistic log control. So what we are doing is over here. So let's say the first job started, right? So the first thing it will do is it will acquire a lock on S3. Now, once the lock is acquired, incremental file processing will start. And once the file processing is done, it will release the lock. Now, meanwhile, since the second, cron job fired and second instance was already fired, maybe a Lambda, maybe a Glue job, or maybe a Spark job on EMR, doesn't really matter, right? So at T2, it was fired, right? So what it does, it checks, hey, is there a lock on there, right? So yes, the answer is yes, the lock is there, right? So this job has to simply wait until the first process will release the lock. So the first process releases the lock on T4, and the second process then acquires the lock. So there is a wait period for the second process. That's exactly what we're going to be simulating. And I'll show you. So right on S3, again, I have a raw folder and I have a bunch of files inside that, right? Now, what I really want to show you is this Python code over here. Okay. Processor, incremental file processor, we give it a path, we give it a checkpoint path. We grab the files in a batch of 5, right? Total there are 15 files, so ideally it should take about 3 runs, right? And purposely, I'm doing it a delay of 2 seconds. So after every file, I'm adding a sleep. And at the end of all the file processing, I'm basically committing the checkpoint. So the next time, the next new files could be processed, right? So if you observe here, I have a decorator where it says wait time is equal to 30 and retry to 2. So in case if a second process start, the second process will check if the log file exists, and if the log file exists, it has to wait, right? So, okay, let's see a demo, right? That's how we're gonna understand it better. So to show you a nice demo, right? So let me collapse this here. Let me go here. Let me delete this log file quickly so I can start fresh. Okay, looks good. Okay, all right. So now I'm gonna start my job. Again, I have 2 terminals, 1 and 2. Let me see also let me readjust my screen a little bit so we can see this demo in a nice way. So again, I have two terminals over here, one on the bottom section and one on the top section right here, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start the Python job on the first one, right? And then I'm gonna start the Python job on the next one, right? So 1, 2, 3, I started, right? So here you can see doing the work, it's processing. And if I fire the lower job, right? Observe what's gonna happen, right? Since the first job is running in the diagram, right? The first job is running, the second job has to simply wait. Look, the first job was complete, it released the lock, the second job started, right? Now let's say I again fired the job, right? So the first terminal now again has to wait until this guy completes it. So this guy completed it, the first file processing started, see? So you see how amazingly, now this is the third run, there are 15 files, right? So after that there is no file to process, right? So if I now run on the bottom section, I should get no files to process. Look, no new files to process. Fantastic, right? Fantastic. So lovely. What you have learned in this concept is pessimistic log control, right? So if you are running some sort of a Spark job, right? Or if you're running some sort of a file processing, right? And it's scheduled on a cron, right? So if the first process takes a longer time and the second process already starts, you need to check if the lock exists or not. If the lock exists and the current process is running, you simply have to wait. And once the first process will release the lock, the second process can acquire the lock and do the job. Amazing, right? So I hope you have enjoyed this particular video. I will write an amazing blog as well on my LinkedIn, and I'll share the code snippets with you. So in case if you want to adopt this solution, you can adopt it in your company if needed. Thank you so much. I hope you have enjoyed. I hope you got some really, really nice insights after that demo, right? So that being said, keep smiling, keep programming, and if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. I'll be more than happy to answer them. Until then, see you, and see you in the next video.